This is Critical Nonsense, our high lowbrow show about culture, science, and tech. This week, Wild Prognostications 2026, where we make our wild guesses for what's to come this year.
Woo!
Don't you remember you told me you nog me, baby? This is what a Joey sounds like.
And I can't make you love me if you don't. This is what an Aaron sounds like.
And this is what an executive producer and homemade nog maker, Jess Vander, sounds like.
Hi, this is Jess.
Nog has vanilla.
Yay!
Does it mostly have egg?
It does. It has egg and it has nutmeg. And by the way, if you're not sprinkling fresh grated nutmeg on your eggnog, you are wasting nog. It's just true.
You've blown it. You've blown it. Start over.
Is this where I say that I don't really like eggnog?
No! Unhappy.
Don't
Blasphemy. On this, the day of Wild Prognostications 2026.
Toot, 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 toot. I don't know what the toot is.
Sounds more like Blue's Clues.
Jess,
okay.
you want to set us up with the nog, pre-nog?
Yeah, the nog pre-nog. What are wild nog prognostications? What are wild prognostications? Well, of course, this is where Aaron, Joey, and I look ahead to the year to come and make guesses on what will happen this year. And then at the end of the year, we look back and say how we did. And it doesn't really matter, and none of the points matter, but it's fun. And the wilder, the better. No tepid takes for this crew.
I'll try.
Only wild ones. That's it.
Woo! Yes. Can I go first? Can I volunteer as tribute? Is that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Should I? And I've got
something ever be in your favor.
something. One of a thing. I have 3 nogs. Should I, Jess, as the rule maker, I don't know what our number of nogs is. Should I blitz through them very quickly?
I think it's usually, you should go through them. You don't even need to go through that quick. It's just they're at least 2. But please go on.
Blitz
what are your nogs, Aaron?
Okay. So you will give me the tepid take-o-meter on every one of them. But I will just
we're rating or the nogs.
We're already rating the nogs. Okay.
Who doesn't need judgment and criticism? All right. So 3 things. 1, privacy officially crosses over to be a luxury, like the privacy in terms of like not being followed on your apps and like offline content moves, all that. Like privacy just becomes a luxury, cordoned off in that way. 2nd, romance, like the genre of romance will resurge to a level that makes everyone vomit collectively at the same time around the world. That's the wild part of the nog. And then 3rd, on December 18th, 2026, Avengers Doomsday will come out, and it will flop, spelling the end of the MCU and spelling real danger and a retreat for comic book movies going forward.
Wow.
Boom! That's it. So I gave you a lot. So is it helpful for me to unpack each one of those just a little bit more?
Yeah. I mean, I would say we have a varying degree of precision, which I appreciate. I like variance. We have varying degrees of hotness, which arguably the vomit one maybe is hottest, where there's a collective evacuation. But the precision of the MCU one, I would say no notes.
I appreciate it. Jess, I feel like you have a thought.
I need to know more about I need to know more about all of these, but I especially want to understand, hasn't romance been poppin'? What will take us to vomit land?
I am so glad you asked. So I'll start with romance : the vomitorium. I would say that, recently we've definitely been seeing a sort of a cultural fascination resurgence with almost like Baroque fantastical romance stories. And I'm thinking very specifically of like of heated rivalry, honestly. Like maybe not Baroque in the like, very chaste sort of held back sort of way. I don't think we would ever describe heated rivalry as being chaste. But I think one of the many ways in which it has sort of captured many people's imaginations has been this sort of fairly politically uncharged, almost one would say politically overly sanitized escape, right? And it is in complete and direct contrast with the hate and fascism that are gripping so many parts of the world so terribly. And so the Jacob Elordi and Margot Robbie Wuthering Heights is coming out in early next year. And what is so interesting about that to me is not just the sort of like, why are we casting the same actors in every movie conversation that's been going on, but I do believe that where we saw a sort of breakthrough over the past 5 to 7 years in a sort of greater complexity around horror stories and the horror genre, I think we're going to see a greater complexity and overtaking in the romance genre. And we're going to see more and more stories that allow people to escape into love as a safe, happy place. And I wouldn't be surprised as well if we see a lot of classic stories pulled back to do so.
Minor corrections department, not next year, next week.
Oh, shit. I'm sorry. Thank you. Yes. In my head, I'm like, oh, it's October 2025. Yeah. Like, we're recording this on February 6th, 2026. I probably shouldn't date ourselves depending on when we put this out, but y'all know it's fine.
But I totally, I'm with you. I'm there. I'm 100% in. I get it. It's like in the prestigification of other genres, we're ready to prestigify romance for sure.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Like the rom-com died a really like sad, quiet death years ago, right?
Yeah.
Like, rom-coms don't get made anymore. And then the sort of sappy roms of the sort of Gilded Age era haven't been really remade en masse in a minute, right?
Yep.
So I think we're going to get glutted with them. I think we're going to get hit with them hard.
There's like an interesting dynamic that I'm pulling anecdotally just from the things I can remember. But I think some of the point that you were bringing about when do certain things pop, like in my memory, at least 50 Shades of Grey popped during the housing bubble crisis and recession that came after. And I think there's a component of what you're saying that feels very true, but I would add to it the sort of intellectual heaviness of the moment, not just in those political dynamics, but within AI and all of these other things. There is a component of the degree of spiciness that is in a lot of the romance genre right now. There is sort of, it's not like, and then things happened and we move on. It is like, this is exactly what happened is a big component of why romance is popular now. And there's sort of a retreat into the body a little bit more than I think maybe historically has been the mode, in part because of sort of financial uncertainty, political uncertainty, sort of like broader existential uncertainty. It makes sense to me that like retreat into love, that retreat into body, physical, carnal types of things would be popping right now.
Sure. I mean, Bridgerton new season, the people are, the people love it. I think that, it's interesting to think about like how will it become even more so? Do you have any specific ideas?
So one thing I think we're going to see is just a lot more like romance playing a bigger role in non-romantic genres. So the idea of love as like a retreat within horror, love as a retreat within action, I think there might actually be just a little bit more screen time, airtime, sort of like plot development energy around those. So that's one signal that I'm looking for. A second signal that I'm looking for is the smuttification of romance. I think like we're grown. Like we are societally at a place where like sex and romance coexist. And so like the idea that those two things aren't at odds, aren't separate things. And just the fact that we as a society are a bunch of horny, quiet people. I'm sorry. People be on their phones. This has always been the case. Like back in the 80s, reading the Fabio romance novels that you get at Kroger, like that happened. That's a thing. And now people have their phones where they're doing it on there. So I think that literally seeing more of this, like what has been happening in the written genres for a long time, a lot more of a blurred line between erotica and romance, and both of those being given sort of equal weight, equal foot, equal airtime, especially in the streaming era, especially in the way that we consume content. I'm just assuming that that's going to start to, that's a second signal that I'm looking for. And then the third and probably simplest signal is that I think we're going to just see more overt romance stories flooding screens, like period, next year. I think there are even things that are not on the slate right now that by the time we hit like October, November, if we haven't seen more on our screens, I'm
the green
saying
lights.
It now, we're going to be seeing that they're slated for 27, and we're going to be seeing that they're slated for 28. And at a degree that we haven't been seeing before. So the third indicator that I'm kind of looking for is like the green light rate of romance forward film and television series. Those are going to be my things. That's We'll see. I'll only hit the other two really, really fast because I want to hear your nogs and I'm boring. Privacy is a luxury. You called it, Joey. I'm going to do a big sweeping one so that I can definitely say that one of them was right. So that's mainly the role that this one plays. What I'm really trying to get out there is just like, we are going to be willing to pay more for being able to not be followed, being able to spend time offline at events that aren't just digitally focused. One small interesting indicator is that the state of California rolled out their drop program where you can submit your information to be scrubbed from data brokers' databases. And while that is a public good, so arguably not a luxury, if anyone has ever used a government website or government tool, it takes time to pull together all the data needed to give them the ability to take your content offline. I also strongly recommend it. ca.privacy.gov, I think it is, for any of our listeners in California. Check it out. Do it. It'll start scrubbing in August, but you should start applying and putting your information in now. So the luxury of being able to have the information, the access, the education, and the time to be able to not be followed in digital platforms, I think is going to, I believe that's the same thing as a luxury that will become more prominent to folks. But yo, I just want to talk about Avengers Doomsday. You know that I just wanted to get a Marvel in here, and that's what it was about. Very, very simply, comic book fatigue, in my estimation, IMHO, is not a made-up phenomenon. Unfortunately, the comic book genre subsumed in film and TV so many other genres that, quite simply, the stories have been told in a medium that too many people have seen and have had too much access to. So the desire to see what's new under the sun is gone. The motifs that are being used over and over again are no longer surprising. And the big, cool selling point of Doomsday is that you've got everybody in the MCU back together. We already did it. We did it better. It was already called Avengers. We did that shit, and it was great. My hair on my arm is still standing up over Avengers Assemble. I don't think I've ever screamed in a movie theater so much and grabbed my chair ooh, this must have been when they saw the first Star War. That's how it felt to me in that moment. So I honestly just think that this is a big swing for Disney. This is a huge swing for Kevin Feige and Marvel Studios. I hope it's great. I want it to be great. I'm a fan. But I also don't have faith in anybody wanting to see another Avengers movie 2 months after the midterms. I don't think that's what we're here for. So
I think you're totally right. And I would just add to it that like they haven't been very well done for a while either.
No.
So that there's a sort of conceptual fatigue that you're talking about. But I think frankly, like, I don't know. I watched the Red Hulk one, the Captain America one.
God, Brave New
recently.
World.
I was just like, I haven't seen it. I don't know what I want to watch. I'll watch that one. And it was just so disjointed and like made no sense. And I know they like changed the movie in post after like initial screenings. And I was just like, what? I don't even know who I'm supposed to care about in this movie. Like, and so it's just been not a good run from a quality perspective. And I think I buy into your take broadly, but like, unless they're changing a bunch of shit, like it's hard to imagine how it's going to like stick the landing.
Yes. The inherent conflict between let's do everything all over again and it's going to be totally better quality. Like, that just doesn't make sense. And that's literally what Avengers Doomsday is. Bring everybody back from every story so that no one's afraid that things are changing, but somehow make it like really, really high quality.
Yeah.
It's okay. Like, I've got the tranche from Iron Man through like Age of Ultron. Like, I'm good. I'm happy.
Endgame, maybe. Yeah.
Or Endgame. You're right. Getting to Endgame. I'm good. So thank you for coming to, they don't do TED Talks anymore. Thanks for coming to my channel. This isn't my channel. Thanks, period.
Yeah. Jessica?
What are your nogs?
Okay, I'm ready. I have 2 nogs. Nog 1 is about paper, and nog 2 is about birds. Lock in. So for 2026, I think what we're going to see is that paper is smart. I think in the universe of AI, where more and more people are realizing how incredible and amazing that it is, we'll be reaching for more and more ways to signal intelligence, and it will have to be in the analog universe. And for that reason, I think that while maybe in the last several years we've seen paper as creativity, like people trying to, counterbalance being stuck in our homes for the pandemic of like, let's like make more things. I feel like now we are going to be looking for ways to prove that we are still here and thinking and things, which might mean more in like the professional sphere, maybe more people reaching for paper or paper-like technologies for notes and showcasing thinking. It might also be more like, also because there's been all kinds of like 90s, early 2000s throwback trends going on recently, like maybe journaling for processing one's own thoughts. And I don't know, I think there's something about paper smart, and also that we're less worried about trees right now. That maybe this goes together, and or just like the immense volume and ubiquity of pulp, recycled paper pulp. So things we can do with paper. That's 1. And then 2, dog days are over. Nobody wants a dog anymore. It's too much work. And people are obsessed with birds. And I think people are going to have bird pets. You saw last Christmas.
This is a bold take.
You saw last Christmas that like the number 1 gift for dads was like a bird cam or like it was like a bird camera, bird feeder outside for the bird obsessed, and it's giving everyone. Again, this is like an insane niche, and the scale of this, obviously, we'll have to determine what are appropriate signals to scale this wild prognog. But I think the extension of the thought is, birding is up. People are into birds. People are into low lift ways to dote on, or low maintenance but high doting opportunity for creatures. People are starting to know and be aware about how smart birds are. What if we have some birds in the house? That's where I am.
I'm so here for this. I mean, not obviously. I grew up with birds. Like, my dad was a zoology major, so like we always had animals in the house. But I grew up with Bobo, the African gray parrot. Like, this was it. And birds, smart birds, like African grays.
Smart birds.
Incredible. incredible pets. Like they can be, if you are willing and you're present, as loving and hilarious and cheeky as dogs. Birding to bird petting, spicy.
It's wild, okay?
Yeah.
It's wild. I like that you went wild with it. I also will throw just quickly on your paper, Nog. I find this, I love this idea because I'm a writer, so I love the idea of paper getting the love that it deserves as a tool. Interestingly, to your point about tree wipeout or tree lack of attention paying words. Who needs them? There's a company, I'll put it in our show notes, but they've been selling themselves like crazy on Instagram by making stone paper. And the whole point is that they are making paper out of stone fragments instead of wood pulp, as a way to rethink, writing technology.
Well, and like think of all of it. I mean, get me on my biomaterials stump,
Yes.
but like
Hey,
straw,
get there.
paper, bamboo, paper. Like there's so many things that we can make paper out of. So like
you can get pulp from so many places.
think about all of the sources of pulp.
I love it. I love it.
Me, I'm a pulp guy.
Yeah, let's do some denim. Throw some jean paper in there. But like I see the markers in the past, like Moleskine smart notebooks. Those were actually really focused on the pen, never quite got to making smart paper, but you had to have smarter paper for the pen to work. By the way, it sucked. That's why they discontinued it. The Remarkable tablet. They haven't rolled out a new version of it, but new competitors have been flooding the market. It's not really paper, but it is the best approximation of paper. If there's a product that I would hawk, it would be the Remarkable. It is my favorite tool that I've ever had for work. So yeah, Jess, I think like the on-ramp is there. I am there with you. Huzzah for paper.
Yeah. I think the social signal component of analog that you were talking about feels like an underrated aspect of this that could play a significant role. Like I agree with all the other points, but I feel like that component of what signal, this year we saw like clankers, that whole thing of like Gen Z talking shit to AI by making up pejorative names online, like you oil sucker, clanker, like whatever the things that we're saying. And so I could imagine from a social signaling perspective, that sort of analog paper component, like proof that this was done by a human aspect feels like an aspect of the signal that would like make or break it.
Yeah, exactly. It's like what are the new signals, cues, implied certifications or whatever of like, ooh, but that's special because you're so smart.
And it's linked to the privacy point. I'm just going to go ahead and hitch my thing onto your wagon because like the idea that you can write something in a notebook that is only for you is privacy. Like you're just alluding to the journaling thing. Like it is both the analogism of it, but also the individuality of written pieces and the disposability and the safety that comes with them. And they are expensive because you got to throw them away. Love it.
Yeah.
Love
right.
it.
Like the whole, I didn't know that Gemini was taking notes and then it forwarded the notes and then we were having this conversation and then whatever. Like, well, if I write it down, I can feel confident that it's not being summarized, bulletified, and mailed to all the people that I want to play on it. Right.
All right. I have 2 nogs for you. They are not explicitly AI, but I think both are probably AI adjacent, like in sort of impact seen in different places. The first one is I've talked to maybe both of you in like pre-show conversations about this. I think we are entering into potentially like a golden age renaissance breakthrough moment in particular medical research and medical treatment. I've been tracking this year just by accident, and then it started to become a little bit more specific behavior of like collecting these studies that have been coming out that are sort of pointing towards like pretty dramatic paradigmatic shifts in medical research. There was a study recently that came out around brain cancer where they had tried an experimental treatment in a couple people, and within 5 days, one person had almost complete elimination of a brain tumor from a single treatment. They have been trying new studies that are sort of biology-based, genetically based. I saw a study recently that just came out where they converted cancerous stomach cells just back into regular old stomach cells. Like a new AI model came out of China that like well exceeded AlphaFold 3. There are new programs that are like printing proteins through like AI models discovering them and then like printing them in there's like a ton. I'm not even gonna like list all of them, but it's like crazy. These sort of like things where they're like we had been going down one path for a long time trying to figure things out, and we just like forked and went through a completely different path and are having insane breakthroughs. And so I think it will be a point, like this has been accelerating, and I noticed it even more this year, but I have a feeling based on some of the AI tools coming out and whatever, that it will be sort of like a demarcation line in 2026 from a medical research breakthrough perspective where like the hockey stick line curve shifts. So that's one. Two is, I think the existential crisis from AI is going to hit like a degree of fever pitch that could have like the end of the year. To me, I expect to have like some sort of radical shift in the way that we're thinking about employment, AI use, and like major companies. Like it's interesting, even just this week, like the Magnificent Seven, I think, or like tech stocks lost. They're basically any of the AI growth that they had seen in the past 6 years has now disappeared. It's like all gone back. Like the market is being disrupted, all of these things. But the thing that I think is standing out the most is people in industries right now, whether industries broadly, right? But expertise maybe. There was Kipling, I can't remember his first name, is a physicist. He went to this summit and he talked about like the truly the leading physicists in the world are saying, I've outsourced 90% of my work to AI at this point, and how do they feel about it? Right now you have sort of the most elite like software engineers like discussing publicly the sadness that they are feeling that this thing that they have built up and been able to do over 20, 30 plus years has like the utility of it has just disappeared. And these things are going to keep happening in other fields. And I think that existential aspect of who am I, what do I do, where do I go, like the required transition, not that those people don't have value and can't be deployed in different ways, but I think the confusion, sadness, and nostalgia that is going to mount this year is going to create a level of almost like an emotional recession if we weren't already in one. And maybe you guys can help me pin this one down, but it is just like it's sitting right there for people to be like publicly talking about sadness. And I went from being like the best, top 10 person in the world at this thing to like my value no longer exists is like in a public forum is quite dramatic.
What's interesting about that is that I feel like put bluntly and crassly, like there have been whole industries completely wiped out due to technology plenty before, but that those like, that it's like, well, why would we use coal if we have renewable energy sources that are so much more efficient and so much less dangerous for all of the people involved and so on and so forth. But I think what's interesting is this time it's coming for the intellectuals. It's coming for people who pride themselves on, using their brain for their work. And it's like, well, not so safe anymore, is it? And I think that will be really, really interesting to see a completely different sector, completely different sort of groups of people going through a process that certainly is not foreign to many who found themselves with technology sort of trying to figure out their place and their value or needing to rethink what they do. And in many ways, Joey, what I'm interested to, like, how do we push this one step further? Maybe 1 year is too soon for this to happen, but like
the Joey classic.
What pivots do we start to see? Like what college majors do we start to see like shifting? Like how does this start? Some people might not be able to adapt and adjust, but like others I could imagine pivot. And where would they pivot? It gets me thinking.
I was talking to a friend who's a tech writer at the New York Times last year, and he actually said to me back in March, like literally what you just said, Joey. He was like, that is going to happen next year. Like people don't realize how the intellectual class is going to be. And he wasn't saying the exact thing. He was basically saying like the disruption is going to be so significant that you are going to see a huge segment of the workforce who has invested decades into their specialty being displaced in a way that they are not ready for and that the economy is not ready for.
And thus the trades reemerge, baby. This was my mini nog waiting in the wings. Right? But like we are woefully unprepared to fix our toilets. You know what I mean? Like it's like, hello, YouTube, help. There's some crazy things like that.
Yeah. And that's the thing you end up with. I see two, like that's like the biggest thing is like, how do you pivot? Because you're right. There's one thing which is just like those who are coming into this world like are going to, we'll see like signals like that in college majors and things like that. But when it comes to the people who are mid-career, like who have another 20 years of working to go at least, like you've got to change everything. Like it's not just like, oh, get a different job. It is, you have to learn, you have to go back to square one. But then the other side too, especially in America, given our society, the bifurcation, like the really uncomfortable peeling away of who you are from your work is going to fuck people up. What is your identity when you are not a battery in a machine? What is your purpose when it is not related to what you create? And I think that the emotional grief that will come from that experience, profound, widespread, disruptive, and terrifying. So
maybe it just feeds back into your romance thing, Aaron, because it is, we all are going to have to pivot. It'll be a question of like broad social individual plasticity, and how we contend with that, independent of how successful we are in accomplishing that. What will the secondary impacts be of the fact that everyone's got to pivot, So
and then what birds are they buying to like get totally comfortable with all of that?
I mean, it should definitely be African gray parrots. They are amazing. They're so smart. They are cuddly. Like they're just great. I love African grays. I miss you, Bobo.
They are like really like the Mechatron of a pigeon.
Yeah, they are. They are. No, that's right. Like pigeons are so freaking smart, but they're wrapped in a dumb package.
Right.
African grays are like, oh, but I'm also beautiful with my red plumage in the back of my tails.
Ooh, wow.
Yeah, no, they're gorgeous. They're gorgeous.
Well, now you heard it here first, folks. Aaron has a specific bird that he recommends you get as you buy your birds.
Strongly, but also critically. Well, if you're gonna put my recommendation out there, I got to qualify.
I'm sorry. Excuse me. Yes, please.
90% of African grays outlive their owners. So if you are buying an African gray, you are buying it for your next generation. Do not expect your African gray to just be around you for a couple of years. That homie's going to be with you until you're gray. So just flag.
Oh, you and your gray graying together. So don't just be buying up these birds. Okay, great. Cool.
Yes. Yeah, did it. Done.
So So, in summary,
Mm-hmm.
our nogs this year really have a lot of overlap. Aaron, you came in with the luxury of privacy, a romantic surge and rebirth in a big way, and a mega Avengers flop. Then I dropped paper, birds, those two things. And then Joey came in with a medical research golden age of breakthroughs and some kind of existential AI crisis and shifting by year's end. We have a lot to look out for, some unsurprisingly less serious than others, but we'll have to keep our eyes peeled. This will be a good one.
Love it. Eyes like grapes. Into it. Well, because you can peel grapes. It makes a lot of sense.
Of course, because they're peelable.
Because they're peelable.
It takes a lot of work.
Bloop.
Critical Nonsense is a Sylvain production.
Brought to you by Heat. What's that? What's that, you say? Oh, it's a parakeets. Just a few of them. Get them today over at Eric Repair's Parade of Parrots shop. Thank you.
Eric Repair's Menagerie. We would like to thank I would like to thank Aaron and Joey. Yay. It's my chance
you always
to
get
do
away
it.
with it. So good. Well, I'm going to thank executive producer Jess Vander and sound engineer Alex Contel. He is the tweet that we need, actually, in this world today. Yes.
And thank you to programming coordinator and grading of fresh nutmeg, Les Jacobs.
And, in my mind, I think of them as just a romantic cuddle puddle of the production crew of Sarah Gilbert, Nora Mestridge, Chrissy Jensen, Amanda Medina, and Amy Waters. Katie Cowden, don't fire me. I don't know what that was.
And as always, thanks a lot.
Thank you. A specialist of thanks.
Special thanks to Alex Contel again.
Yes.
For however many years of nogging and however many phones left on vibrate by accident on the table. Thank you for keeping up with us on all these nogs all this time.
Literally, it's been now 7 years roundabout, 6 or 7 years that we've been not doing these things. So Alex Contel, man, so good. The only other thing that I really have, all right, I'm going to get a little bit schmaltzy for a second. I would like to thank you, Jess Vander, for giving me some sparks of, I don't know, joy and like thoughtfulness alongside like happiness. Like, I really enjoy doing this podcast with you. You bring a sense of order, a sense of whimsy, and a sense of smarts to every moment that we get graced by your presence. So I'm going to thank you on this one really properly. And I'm glad to call you a friend. Indeed.
Oh man, I was like going through the speedy, zoomy, jokey special things, but now we're doing like the real one. That's so nice. I feel like we just really, all of us just love hanging out and love doing this.
It's true.
And
it's true.
For those of you who have been listening with us, we appreciate your patience. But we really love hanging out, and it's really fun. So thank you all for joining in.
Yes.
And thank you, Aaron. That was really nice. Well,
absolutely.
Everybody, we'll see you soon. But then
bye,
later
friends.
we'll see you later. Okay, bye.
And right, that. Yes, we will see you later again. Yeah. Ooh, I messed up. Okay. That made me happy.
Started?
I did. You got a natural snort out of me. I hate you. Cool. You guys have good days and good meetings.